Welcome everybody to the final game of the WDL Sunday night quadruple header here. I am your host and broadcaster tonight, Ralphus, joined by our producer, Kay Blair, and our special guest host tonight and guest commentator, former WDL champion, Zanero. It's good to have you here, Zanero.
Good to be here.
So tonight's matchup, we have the Giant Pea Shooters versus the Berserker Packers. The Giant Pea Shooters are captained by Alt Stab, and he is joined by Doom veterans Devastation and Tenzoa. Both have played with him in the past, and last week they faced the Professional Esports Enthusiasts and won in a 2-round victory. So they're coming off a nice win with 4 points. They have an opportunity here to move up into first place. And on the other end, we have the Berserker Packers, led by returning Captain Zakin. He has Halloween, also known as Dosu, on his team. Our hero. Those look to be the starters tonight, but they also have Stark. And an interesting point of note in this game is that before the first week happened, the only trade so far this season happened between these two teams. GPS and Berserker Packers traded Denzoa to GPS and Stark to BSK. So it'll be interesting to see if Stark gets some play here tonight, some run against the team that drafted him. And the same with Denzoa. I mean, we know he's going to start. So, yeah, I mean, this is looking like could be a pretty good game. Both teams have been practicing all week long. The Berserker Packers are currently sitting in last place in the standings, so a loss will leave them in the basement, but a victory here can put them right in the middle of the pack. So, GPS has an opportunity to jump into first. BSK has an opportunity to jump out of last. What do you guys think is going to happen here tonight? Any predictions?
I think it's interesting that the teams conducted a trade like directly parallel to each other, and they end up facing each other before. It takes a couple weeks usually for a team to coalesce around a trade and get their routines and strategies like up to date, get that synergy rolling. So it'll be cool to see what happens with the traded players. But I'm really curious what may happen mid-game because we got both reserve players for both teams sitting in the spectators.
Yep, it'll be interesting to see if BSK goes down here in the first round. But it looks like Stark's switching in. It's going to be Stark, Dosu, and Zakin as the starting lineup against Stab, Dev, and Denzoa. And we are starting round 1 here. Now, GPS grabs the blue armor. The last game we did not see a lot of armor control in the TPT BST game, so it's going to be interesting to see if that changes here.
From the outset, armor control on a map like this, Blix map, is incredibly important, especially when you want to control a central SSG spawn like it is in the Archway, which will cover two of the 4 spawns in the map.
So right now it looks like we have Zakin on D for the Berserker Packers. It looks like Dosu, Halloween, he's holding down mid. And it looks like Stark is actually out running for the Berserker Packers this game. So many think of him as a defensive mid type of player, but we're going to get a chance to see him play offense against the team that traded him away. And on the GPS side of the field, we have Alt Stab, looks to be running here or playing some sort of mid. Devastation is pushed up, so it looks like he's probably also mid, which would mean that Denzoa is likely... Yeah, it looks like Denzoa and Devastation are kind of splitting the mid up duties. Denzoa is pushing a little bit more.
Yeah, so it kind of looks like they're alternating depending on where their spawns are located.
So both flags are grabbed right now. Stab has the BSK flag. And
good pickup and score.
A big pickup by GPS goes up 1-0 here, first round. 8:30 on the clock. Plenty of time to play. We've seen in the other 3 games this week that big comebacks can happen very quickly here.
Halloween grabs blue armor, but took some damage there.
Zakin is out with a decent run, but he jumped down right into the Lion's Den. So Denzoa seems to be hanging back on defense right now. Devastation kind of pushing, holding mid, and Stab on the offensive for the Giant Pea Shooters. And Denzoa is making quick work of Stark on that run. Both teams having a hard time getting the blue armor and holding it. So right now, Stab has the flag. He is out to mid, but he is stopped by the Packers.
GPS put a lot more effort in controlling the tight angle past the midway point, while BSK is kind of trying to outmaneuver them and get past their mid rather than control it outright through power.
Now the Packers, they're starting to get a little bit of pressure here. They're getting out to mid, but that combination of Denzo and Devastation, two of the most renowned fraggers in the WDL's history, is going to be a hard task to get past them. So right now we have Dosu kind of sparring with Denzo a little bit. Stark going in for a run. Things have kind of settled here with 7 to play. It's 1-0 right now. Stark kind of getting caught in the flag room.
It should be noted that it's notoriously difficult for a player to get past mid on a map like this with one singular choke point without a teammate moving up to assist him. So solo runners are going to have a really hard time without mid support.
Yes, that's definitely true here, and we've seen it in a lot of the other games. I don't know the exact stats, but I would venture a guess.
Ooh, Stark's always cross mid.
And Stark, yes, Stark is across mid. Oh, and he had such a great run, but Devastation stops him right before he gets into the flag room. And
That's
actually,
got a
on the rebound here, stabs across.
Oh, what a pickup! That is
and that's
practically a guaranteed score.
Great team play and luck by GPS. They go up 2-0 here. BSK almost tied it up, and they got caught out of position. But yeah, as we were saying, it seems as though the majority of scores this week are off of pickup captures, not straight flag-to-flag runs. And we're going to see that possibly right here as well. But nope, Dev gets a big return. So now the Berserker Packers are really getting a lot of pressure on Giant P shooters.
Looking at the pickup rate. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
They're getting a lot of great runs, but they have had a difficult time making it out to mid or past mid. As far as frags go, teams are pretty even. GPS with a slight edge, 93 to 85 here. 5:20 on the clock to play. GPS leads 2-0. But Stark has the flag. He has an opportunity. He's out across mid, but he is stopped. And Zoa returns the flag. And we're about to hit the halfway mark here. 5 minutes and 2 to play. Stab has the flag. He's stopped. Zakin gets a return. And it's interesting to look at the frags so far. You know, Stark kind of running that old school IDL running style, light on the frags, only 17 frags. The next closest to him is 32, so he's almost doubled in frags by every other player at this point. But his team is making up for it. You know, Zakin has 46 here. He's leading the entire game. Dosu has 34.
I was about to say, like, even with that old style of running back, like, it will open a hole in their mid coverage for them to fall back, and your team can move up and frag them. So the front coverage will be made up regardless.
So Stab across here, and his team, and Denzoa picks up the flag.
Good return.
Zakin with a huge return as he stops Denzoa from walking that flag in and make it 3-0. So 4:09 on the clock to play. GPS leads 2-0, but Halloween does have the flag. It is returned. Both flags are on their stands safely. 4 minutes to play.
I've not seen a whole lot of changing tactics from BSK. They've been getting murdered without a whole lot of frag coverage, while GPS has all their flag drops, the ME flag drops, have been within pickup range. So it may be only a matter of time before they get more pickup flag captures.
It's
unless BSK changes something up.
BSK has made a couple of cross, but you know, Stab is being very effective here, pushing the flag, holding it at the right times, knowing when to grab it, when to hold off for a moment so his team can set up. And now Stab has it right here, and he does not get out, but Stark grabs the shooter's flag. Stab grabs the blue armor here, and you know, that's another thing. I think GPS so far has done a better job of controlling that blue armor.
Yeah, it sure seems like it. I wonder who is grabbing the blue armor more. Is it their runner or is it one of their mid?
Now BSK finally brings one in with a good team capture. They all walk it in. That's going to bring the score to 2-1 GPS. But Dev does have the flag. He's on his way.
Well, Dev looking
Out.
for a rebound here. Oh, loses
Looking
it.
for some help.
Good reset.
So 2 minutes and 38 on the clock to play here in the first round. GPS leads 2-1. Both teams trying to make a statement. BSK with possibly the momentum on their side. They scored last. But as you said earlier, not seeing a lot of deviation from each team's plan at the outset. Now
Their mix
Stab's
gone.
across,
Oh, that is
almost
that is a
untouched.
capture.
He has 5 health. He makes it to the stand with 5 health. Barely was touched going across mid. Only took 15 damage.
And the reason for that was BSK's 2 players moved up instead of trying to capture the carriers, and they got murdered by GPS's mid.
So 2-minute warning here in the first round. We have GPS up 3-1 on the Berserker Packers. And Stab is looking to keep that pressure up. He goes in for another grab. And the frag count is really starting to separate at this point. They were very close earlier. Now the shooters are up almost 30 frags on the Packers.
And that's a testament to their really strong mid. Both mid players are rarely actually separating until they clear the mid, and that's making a big difference.
And that's a great run by Dev there, but he stopped in mid. Zakin gets a good return. Zakin playing a great kind of regulating mid. He's doing his best to kind of slow everyone down. Although he's moving up from D, he's kind of doing a little bit of everything. Leaving the running to Stark, but... So now the shooters have 2 in, and the Packers have 2 in. Both kind of get reset. Zakin grabs the flag.
The longer you leave,
both teams are
them
kind
to
of
shut
out
up.
of position here.
It's gonna get tough to run that flag now. Almost.
An almost run. But with 40 seconds remaining on the clock, GPS leads 3-1 here in the first round. It's looking like this GPS is to lose at this point. The shooters are kind of commanding the field, having their way. And with 30 seconds left, it's unlikely that the Berserker Packers are going to be able to mount a comeback. But a new round awaits.
So far, a lot of BSK's runs have been up on the top platform, and GPS already has a mid presence looking at that top platform, which limits the runner's options. And that's been pretty tough for them to overcome.
So that's going to do it for the first round here. GPS holds it down 3-1. Big frags. They led by 36 frags, 205 to 169. So GPS goes into the next round saying, hey, we just got to win one more round and we're number 1 in the league standing. Berserker Packers say, hey, we need to at least win a round and try and get out of the basement here.
And these kind of open fraggy maps are pretty good for Devastation and Denizilla to excel in too.
Oh, definitely. This really caters to their style. But the Berserker Packers shouldn't get too discouraged yet. They played a pretty good game.
Being down only by 2. Wait, they had a deficit of 2 flags?
Yep.
That's not much in a map like this.
So we're going to see who strikes first here. Stark's got his hands on the flag, but Stab is ready to drop back. All of GPS ready to drop back and prevent some sort of early score by the Packers here.
Both teams have to be really careful not to overcommit and be caught out of position. Such a short distance between the flags. Anything can happen if your whole team pushes up.
Untouched. He does have a player spawn around him. Now he is seen, but he almost made it to the stand untouched. But the Packers are doing a great job so far stuffing mid, but they don't see him walk into the base here. Stab walked right in. Unfortunately for him, his mid guys were fragging and caused respawns around him. Otherwise he would have had a clean touch. So Stab's got his hand on the flag again. He's out across the mid, and Devastation picks the flag up, walks it up top, capture. And he's most likely, going to put that on the stand. And that's great teamwork, you know. Stab likely on the comms tells Dev, hey, I'm coming out from main. Move up and meet me. Stark is across right now, though. Stark almost goes in, and you know,
They almost missed the return too, and that could have been disastrous for them.
yeah, the Packers, they had to focus on getting their own flag back. They did the right thing there. Stark's had some great runs, and he almost had another great one there. There's not a lot of help for Stark at mid. You know, Stark is not known as a runner, but he's been doing an excellent job so far this game of pushing that flag up to mid.
Even with the armor, without a lack of obstacle cover and health to pick up along the way, it makes it really tough without actual physical presence from your mid players.
Now Dosu is kind of playing a mid. He's trying to track Stab here, slow him down. Dosu clears mid himself, and now he's going to push. He's going to take this opportunity to push up,
Apply pressure to response.
Having a little bit of lag. You have to wonder if that lag is affecting Dosu's play here this game. Just momentary spikes that he's experiencing.
Yeah, that could always affect how you're leading your shots. But we see other players with high latency before, and it's a matter of calling your shots when you can.
And Stab grabs the flag, he walks it over, but
Good return.
Dosu with a huge return in the enemy base. Such focus by Dosu.
And Dev is out, his cover's gone.
And another huge return by Dosu. Stark's got his hands on the flag, but he is... all of GPS is waiting for him in mid.
Yeah.
Dosu grabs the blue armor at 640. So the armor respawns every 30 seconds.
A pickup. He has a good amount of distance. Could capture that.
Oh, and Dosu almost makes a huge
my
there, but
goodness.
GPS goes up 2-0. Let's talk about how important that blue armor is. It respawns every 30 seconds after it's grabbed. Oh, well wait. Let's wait and see if Zakin can score. Dosu grabs the flag.
Hot.
Oh, what a huge return by GPS. The Packers have had so many close calls, missed opportunities.
GPS had two people right behind the carrier, and that's really tough to outrun.
But as we were saying, the blue armor respawns every 30 seconds. It cuts damage by half. That's crucial. If you have 100 health points, you know, you basically have 150 health with it. So the blue armor is up right now. Dosu sees it. He's going to grab it at 535. He's going to go for a run. Since he has some nice health, he's going to probably... oh, that health pack is stolen from him.
Not returning fire efficiently. He's managed to kill one, but the other guy takes him down. That spawn made a pretty big effect on that fight.
Zakin kind of playing a base defense. He's laying back. He is pushing up to the top of mid now, but he is making sure that it's all clear. 5 minutes on the clock here in the second round. Berserker Packers are in
Armor's up.
Tough situation.
DPS gets it. BSK gets it again. But it unfortunately doesn't work out for them. They get gunned down.
So with 5 minutes to go here, 4 minutes and 50 seconds to be exact, the Giant Pea Shooters lead 2-0 in the second round. They took the first round 3-1. And a win here will give GPS 4 points, make this a 2-round victory. They will lead the league in points. 4:30 on the clock. Zakin is clearing mid. He's doing a great job of it. Stark penetrating GPS's base, his hand on the flag. We're starting to see more of a 2-0 approach from Stark and Halloween. You have to wonder if maybe Zakin himself is pushed up. All three are kind of moving across the mid together.
And that could be really, really dangerous to... if that gets exploited, they recognize that you will lose flags from that.
And now Stark is out with their flag, but they're having a really hard time getting it past mid. You know, Berserker Packers have done a great job of getting the flag out to the center of the map, but they just cannot seem to get it past that area.
And Dev is out. Oh,
now Dev is
return.
out.
That is a score.
Yep, and Dev, in the midst of all that pushing and chaos by BSK, he grabs the flag, walks it in, makes it 3-0 with 3:37. And Stab on his way to score another one possibly here.
And that's exactly what I was talking about. With your whole team pushed up, there is a lot of limitations on the defense side for that.
Yeah, and the shooters are blowing this game open. Stark almost with a score there. He gets it near their flag, but he's just pursued by that pressure from the Giant Pea Shooters. They're just a great fragging team, possibly the best in the league. And they're running this across right now. If Stab is not stopped, he is
That is
stopped.
a pickup though.
But
And that's
it's
it.
too late. GPS does it in almost 7 minutes. They defeat the Berserker Packers. They move to #1 in the league. A great performance by GPS. Berserker Packers, not a bad performance. They're playing one of the top teams in the league. You have to think that next week they're going to come out against the Superchargers and give it their all as they try to climb out of the basement. So
And-
that can... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask you what's your opinion on that trade after watching that game. I believe that the trade worked out really well for
Well,
GPS.
there's no doubt that it worked out for the Giant Pea Shooters. Denzo is a perfect fit for that team. And, Stark might be a perfect fit for the Berserker Packers, but at this point, it's really about figuring out which combination of players on the Berserker Packers are going to do the best on each map. They have 4 starting caliber players, and that's something that Zakin's going to have to figure out in the final 3 weeks here of the regular season. There's a lot of games left to be played, a lot of points on the table to be taken, and if Zakin can just configure his players in the right way, there's no doubt in my mind that that's a roster capable of winning the remainder of their games. So at this point, yes, Denzoa, great fit for GPS. Stark could be for BSK, but they have a lot to figure out.
I think that what Zakin really needs to figure out as a captain is take a look at the tactics that was used during the game and how GPS really was on the ball with taking away every opportunity that BSK made for themselves with those pushes, but they also exploited their lack of defense in the last game. And that's something you have to adapt to as a captain. On that kind of map, a disparity of tactics like that is really, really obvious. So if they're able to regroup and strategize a little bit better, then they'll have a lot better chance in their upcoming games.
All right, well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to today's games. It was a WDL Sunday quadruple header. It was one of the most exciting days we've had in the league. 4 great games were played. Just a reminder that GPS did win this game in 2 rounds. They win 4 points over the Berserker Packers. I want to thank my producer here, Kay Blair, and our special co-host, former WDL champions in Arrow, for joining us here tonight. And remember to head on over to doomleague.org. Throughout the week, we'll be posting the schedule for next week's games. And, stay involved, stay tuned. We got a lot more games to be played.